Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again on another edition of Back to Earth, a natural and healthy guide to eating and living. And today we're going to make one of my favorite recipes, kale chips. And these are better than potato chips. And you may be skeptical about that, but trust me, these are healthy and better than potato chips, perfect for snacking anytime. And I'm going to make something that tastes cheesy, but without using any cheese. So this is entirely vegan as well. And you're going to need 8 ingredients. And you're also going to need either a very good blender or preferably a food processor to make the sauce that's going to coat the kale chips as they dehydrate. And also, you may want to purchase a dehydrator, but I'm also going to tell you how to use your oven to dehydrate your kale chips as well, in case you don't have a dehydrator and you can't afford to get one. This one was actually bought secondhand, so check your local yard sales. And so aside from that, you're going to need kale, obviously. You can find it at your local grocery store most of the time, preferably organic kale, because non-organic kale does use an enormous amount of pesticides. So you need 2 bunches of kale. You'll need 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. That is different than brewer's yeast, and you can find it at Whole Foods or another health food store. And that's 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, which is optional if you can't find it. 2 cups of cashews that have been soaked overnight, and the juice from 1 large lemon or 1½ small lemons. You also need 1 full tablespoon of salt, any kind of salt, sea salt is fine, and also 3 or 4 cloves of fresh garlic, and I'm using actually 6 or 7 because they are very small, but about 3 or 4 large cloves of garlic will do. You can use more or you can use less. It depends on whether you know how much you love garlic, and you can actually keep it out completely if you want to. And also 1 to 2 sweet bell peppers. I've used very small red, orange, and yellow chopped sweet bell peppers. And also you'll use a dash, about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. And you will start by combining these ingredients into the blender, and you're going to start with your lemon juice because you want to start with a liquid. And next, about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then your chopped sweet bell peppers. Whoops. Garlic, salt, nutritional yeast, and I tend to add the cashews last. And then you blend this mixture until smooth. But it'll still be thick, so don't worry about it if it's still thick. But blend it well. Make sure everything's well incorporated. You may want to stop the blender if you have a blender or even the food processor and stir it around and keep blending it again. So here we go. Alright, once you have your mix completely blended together, it should be like a really thick milkshake inside your blender or food processor. And if you smell it, it should smell really good. And what you want to do with your kale when you buy it in the store is that it comes, as a full leaf kale, and it has this huge stem right down the center of it. You want to get rid of that because it will become a stick, when you dehydrate it, and you will not like it. So what you want to do is preferably your kale is really nice and dark and crispy. All you need to do is grab the end of the stem and wrap your hand around it and just pull. And that's the trick to destemming kale. And then you're left with this soft, bushy, curly kale that you can just break into bite-sized pieces, but not too small. You want to keep them large because they're going to shrink up as they dehydrate, and you just stick them in a big bowl. And it's not all going to fit in one bowl unless you have a really huge bowl. So, split it between 2 bowls. That's fine. And, again, big and small pieces need to be destemmed. And it's a very simple process. And once you get all your kale destemmed, you get it in a bowl, and you take your mixture and you just pour it over. Not all of it. Just, you can add more if you need it. And then you get your hands messy and you massage that mixture all over your kale. If some fall out, that's alright. Just throw them back in there. So once you've got it nice and coated, and every piece of kale is nice and thickly coated with the dressing, then you take a tray from your dehydrator or a cookie sheet if you're using your oven. And if you're using your oven and you're using cookie sheets, just put a layer of parchment paper over the pan and it works just as well as a dehydrator. And just in a single layer, but if they overlap a little bit, that's okay. Just casually toss your kale. It's okay if it's a little folded over. I preferably, I like those pieces that are folded over a little bit, just like the folded over potato chips. So they'll dehydrate fine if they're a little bit overlapped or folded over. Just get them on there. Some people say don't have your kale touching, but I've never had a problem getting it to dehydrate this way and packing them closely together that way. And so there you have it. And that's how you layer each one. If you have a multi-layer dehydrator like I do, then you just take the next layer and you put it on top of that, and you keep layering the kale. And then you put it on the dehydrator at about 115 to 120 degrees for about 8 to 10 hours. I mean, it might even take 12. You want to keep checking it. And once it's done, you will know. You will know because it will turn out to be very thin and crispy, and when you bite into it, it will sound and feel like biting into a potato chip. So you have your very own homemade from scratch kale chips, which is a very good thing because kale chips in the store can be really expensive. For a box this size, they can go for $8 or $9 easy. So when you make your own kale chips, you save a lot of money, and you get all the amazing nutritional benefits of kale because you're not really cooking it, you're just dehydrating it. So you maintain most of the nutritional benefits of kale, plus the benefits of the cashews and the lemon juice and, all the other ingredients like the nutritional yeast, which is an excellent source of B vitamins. So, perfect. Perfect for a party, perfect for a snack, perfect for any time. So I hope you get to try this. I know it's a little labor intensive and it takes a little bit of patience. If you're using your oven and you're using the cookie sheets and the parchment paper, put your oven on the lowest setting possible and keep it around 100 degrees. You don't want it more than about 100, 110 degrees, or else your kale might burn. and leave it in there for I leave it in there overnight and just check on it in the morning. And just keep checking on it until it's the perfect texture, and then store it away in plastic containers for months at a time. So thank you for joining me on another episode of Back to Earth, a natural and healthy eating and living guide. I hope you get to try this recipe, and I hope you get to tell me how much you like it. Thank you very much. Take care.